8 daily self-love habits that will transform your energy. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm so glad you found us. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button because we're all about personal growth, positive vibes, and living your best life. So let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever felt like life is just heavy? Like your mind's all over the place, your energy's completely drained, and you're just going through the motions? Yeah, I've been there too. And here's what I discovered. Happiness and peace aren't hiding somewhere out there waiting for you to find them. They start right here with how you treat yourself. When you genuinely love yourself, when you honor every moment and care for yourself like you matter, because you do, something incredible happens. Your energy shifts, your frequency elevates, and suddenly you start attracting peace, love, and all the good stuff naturally. Today, we're diving deep into 8 powerful self-love habits. These aren't complicated or time-consuming, but trust me, they're absolutely transformative. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete roadmap for becoming lighter, more positive, and truly alive every single day. So grab your coffee or tea, get comfortable, and let's get into it. All right, habit number 1. Welcome natural light into your life. Look, we all know sunlight is important, but most of us seriously underestimate just how powerful it really is. From the tiniest plants to the largest animals, everything on this planet responds to natural light cycles. And guess what? You're no exception. When you expose your body to morning sunlight, you're not just waking up your eyes and skin. Every single cell in your body gets the memo, hey, it's time to power up for a new day. This is biology working for you. Here's the science part that'll blow your mind. Sunlight is literally the best source of vitamin D, and you can't get enough of it from food alone. Vitamin D is like the key that unlocks calcium absorption, strengthening your bones and protecting you from osteoporosis as you age. Plus, it supercharges your immune system, helping your body fight off illness. But here's where it gets really interesting. When natural light hits your skin, your brain produces more serotonin. That's your happiness hormone. This is why you feel so good on sunny days. And get this, that serotonin converts to melatonin at night, helping you fall asleep faster and sleep deeper. So morning sunlight literally sets you up for better sleep 12 hours later. How cool is that? Natural light also regulates your circadian rhythm, your body's internal clock. If you're constantly tired, struggling with insomnia, or dealing with jet lag, just 10 to 15 minutes of morning sunlight can reset everything. Your body syncs back up with nature, and your mental state stabilizes. And you don't need hours of sun exposure. Just 10 to 15 minutes in the early morning or late afternoon is enough. Go for a walk, do some stretching outside, or just sit on your porch with your morning coffee. Let your skin and eyes drink in that natural light. If you live somewhere without much sunshine, I'm looking at you, Seattle. You can still maximize light exposure by opening your curtains wide, working near windows, or adding plants by your balcony to create green space while catching those rays. Think of welcoming natural light as a daily self-care ritual. It's free, it's simple, but the benefits are incredible, both physically and mentally. This small connection with nature is the foundation for raising your vibrational frequency. Habit number 2, walk mindfully. Now, walking is probably the simplest exercise on the planet, right? But here's the thing. When you combine walking with mindfulness and presence, it transforms into something so much deeper. It becomes soul care. Instead of treating your walk like a workout where you're counting steps or burning calories, try experiencing it as a ritual for reconnecting with yourself. Every step, every breath becomes an opportunity to tune back into who you are and what's around you. Here's what's happening in your body when you walk. You're releasing endorphins, natural painkillers that lift your mood and reduce stress and anxiety. At the same time, rhythmic movement lowers cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone. Lower cortisol means less belly fat, better sleep quality, and an overall calmer nervous system. With just one simple habit, you're giving your body and mind incredibly powerful medicine. Walking also improves digestion and circulation. Health experts recommend taking a 10 to 15-minute gentle walk after meals to help your stomach function better. Avoid that heavy feeling and stabilize blood sugar. And if you sit at a desk all day, just standing up and walking around helps blood flow, clears brain fog, and boosts mental clarity. Here's something really cool. Mindful walking can unlock creativity. When you walk in open space, your brain gets more oxygen and stimulation from nature. Birds chirping, wind through leaves, light filtering through trees. These seemingly simple things create new pathways for ideas. Countless writers, artists, and even scientists have found inspiration or solutions to difficult problems while walking. So how do you practice mindful walking? Start by putting your phone away. Walk without rushing. Focus on your breath. Inhale with one step, exhale with the next. Observe your surroundings, the color of the sky, sounds in the air, the feeling of your feet touching the ground. Smile occasionally simply because you're present in that moment. If possible, walk outdoors where there's greenery or water. And here's a game changer. Try walking barefoot on grass, soil, or sand. This practice, called grounding or earthing, helps balance electrical charges in your body, reduces tension, and creates a deeper sense of calm. Mindful walking doesn't require a lot of time. Just 20 minutes daily, or even a few quick loops around your home when you're feeling stressed, will refresh your energy. This isn't just physical exercise. It's a spiritual gift that helps you listen to yourself, harmonize with nature, and cultivate inner peace. Habit number 3, connect with the healing energy of water. Water is the origin of all life. Before you were even born, you floated in warm water inside your mother's womb. As an adult, your body is still more than 70% water, and every single cell needs water to exist, metabolize, and function properly. So when you learn to truly connect with water's energy, you're nourishing not just your body, but your spirit too. One of the most powerful experiences is immersing yourself in natural water. The ocean, a lake, or a river. That feeling of your body floating weightlessly, your skin touching cool, flowing water. It doesn't just relax your muscles, it soothes your soul. Studies show that natural bodies of water contain negative ions that help balance electrical charges in your body, reduce stress, and improve sleep quality. This is why so many people feel recharged and peaceful after a beach trip. Now, I know not everyone lives near the ocean or a lake, and that's okay. There are tons of simple ways to connect with water's healing power right at home. One of the easiest practices is a warm saltwater foot soak. When you soak your feet, you're activating pressure points on the soles of your feet, improving blood circulation, releasing fatigue, and supporting detoxification. Just 15 to 20 minutes before bed will leave you feeling lighter mentally and physically, and you'll fall into deeper sleep. Here's another small but meaningful practice. Drinking water mindfully. Instead of gulping it down quickly, hold your glass with both hands. Take a deep breath, then slowly sip. Imagine cool, refreshing water flowing down your throat into every cell, awakening life within you. When you drink water consciously, you're transforming an ordinary action into a ritual that nourishes gratitude and connection to life itself. You can also bring water energy into your home with simple touches, a small fish tank, fresh flowers in a vase, or even a water plant. The sound of trickling water or just the visual of clean water creates a fuller and more complete. Science has proven that deep breathing increases oxygen levels in your blood, improving brain function and circulation. On the flip side, when you breathe quickly and shallowly, your body goes into alert mode. Your heart rate increases and you produce more cortisol, the stress hormone. That's why learning to breathe properly isn't just a relaxation technique. It's a natural method for balancing your nervous system, reducing stress, and sleeping better. Here's a super simple technique anyone can practice: the 1-to-2 breathing ratio. Inhale through your nose for 3 seconds, then exhale through your mouth for 6 seconds. This slow breathing pattern activates your parasympathetic nervous system, the system responsible for feelings of safety, relaxation, and recovery. When you practice this consistently, you'll notice those hidden tensions in your body gradually releasing. Another powerful method from yoga is alternate nostril breathing. Use your finger to close one nostril and inhale through the other, then switch sides. This helps balance both hemispheres of your brain, the part managing logic and the part managing emotions. It's an excellent exercise before studying, creative work, or any time you need sharp focus. But beyond technique, what matters most is presence in each breath. Make breathing a daily mindfulness habit. When you feel stressed, stop what you're doing. Place one hand on your chest and one on your belly. Breathe in deeply, feeling your chest and belly rise. Then exhale slowly, letting all tension leave your body with your breath. Just a few minutes of this, and you'll feel your mind settle, your energy refresh, and your heart lighten. Remember, breath is a free gift, but it's incredibly valuable and always within reach. When you use it consciously, you're not just improving physical health, you're opening a door to deeper connection with yourself. Breathe deeper, slow down, and be present in every breath. That's how you live fully in each moment. Habit number 5, nurture your body through movement. The human body was designed to move. From small motions like rotating your wrists and rolling your shoulders to bigger activities like running, jumping, and climbing. All of it keeps your body flexible and healthy. But modern life has changed things. We sit at computers for hours, drive everywhere, and hunch over our phones constantly. The result? Even young people are experiencing stiff joints, back pain, and neck tension, issues that used to only affect middle-aged folks. Regular body movement isn't just about burning calories or maintaining your figure. More importantly, it keeps your joints flexible, stimulates blood circulation, and releases built-up tension in your muscles. When you roll your shoulders, tilt your neck, or stretch your body, you're allowing blocked energy to flow freely, like unlocking new channels in your system. One of the most effective movement practices is mobility training. Gentle exercises focused on warming up and softening major joints like your hips, shoulders, and knees. Just 10 to 15 minutes daily can significantly improve flexibility, reduce injury risk, and support other activities like walking, running, or yoga. Here's something fascinating. When your body becomes flexible, your mind becomes more adaptable too. You'll find it easier to adjust to changes, you'll be less rigid in your thinking, and you'll feel less stressed overall. This is the powerful mind-body connection. A stiff body often reflects a rigid mind. A fluid body reflects an open spirit. If you don't have much time, you can still incorporate movement into small moments throughout your day. Stand up and stretch your shoulders every 45 minutes of work. Rotate your wrists during breaks, or simply walk around the room to loosen up. These seemingly tiny actions have the power to sustain your vitality long-term. Also, try to find movement practices that bring you joy instead of pressure. For some people, that's dancing to their favorite music. For others, it might be yoga, tai chi, or even playing with their dog. When you genuinely enjoy moving, your body releases dopamine, the happiness hormone that makes you feel good and keeps you motivated. Nurturing your body through movement doesn't mean intense workouts. It can simply be gentle actions, twisting, bending, releasing your body with your breath. What matters is maintaining connection with yourself through each movement so that every day you feel life energy flowing through your body. Habit number 6, Meditate and embrace stillness. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly bombarded with sounds, images, and information. Phone notifications, incoming emails, social media updates, it never stops. Our minds rarely get a break. That's why meditation and stillness have become precious medicine, helping us return inward to rediscover silence and the peace that's always been within us. Meditation isn't about sitting motionless for hours or forcing your mind to go blank. It's simply the journey of returning to the present moment, observing everything happening without judgment. When you close your eyes and focus on your breath or heartbeat, you're gradually entering an inner space of stillness where energy is restored and your soul is healed. Modern science has proven meditation's many benefits. Just 10 minutes daily can help lower blood pressure, improve sleep quality, increase focus, and regulate emotions. Specifically, meditation helps your brain produce alpha waves, the type associated with deep relaxation, creativity, and peace. There are many meditation styles to fit different people. You can start with breath meditation. Sit still, close your eyes, and follow your breath in and out. When your mind wanders, gently guide your attention back to your breathing. Another approach is body scan meditation, where you slowly move your awareness from the top of your head to the soles of your feet, identifying and releasing tension in each area. You can also experience meditation in movement. Walk slowly, feel each step touching the ground, or even wash dishes with complete presence. Meditation isn't limited to sitting still. It can be practiced in any daily activity as long as you maintain awareness. A particularly important aspect of meditation is inner stillness. In silence, you hear your deepest inner voice, the things external noise usually drowns out. It might be unease that needs soothing or a long-forgotten desire. When you allow yourself to stop and listen, you're truly honoring yourself. Think of meditation as a date with yourself. Dedicate a few minutes each day to sit quietly, relax, and simply be present. You'll discover that peace doesn't come from outside. It's already within you. Meditation is the key that unlocks that door. Habit number 7, practice gratitude. Here's a simple truth most people miss. Happiness doesn't come from having more. It comes from appreciating what you already have. Gratitude isn't just saying, thank you. It's a state of consciousness where you view life through gentle eyes, recognizing that even small things around you contain magic. Research in positive psychology has proven that regular gratitude practice improves sleep quality, reduces anxiety and depression, and increases overall life satisfaction. When your heart overflows with gratitude, your mind has no room for comparison or resentment. Instead, a warm, peaceful energy radiates through every cell. One simple way to start is keeping a gratitude journal. Every night before bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for that day. It could be a warm smile from a stranger, a delicious meal, or simply a moment when you breathed fresh air. When you consistently do this, you're training your mind to seek beauty instead of focusing only on what's lacking. You can also practice gratitude through action. A genuine compliment, a small gesture of help, or simply a look of appreciation towards someone. These are all living expressions of gratitude. When you express appreciation to others, positive energy doesn't just make them happier. It circles back and nourishes your own heart. Gratitude can even extend to difficulties. Try looking at life's challenges as lessons that help you grow. When you're grateful even for unpleasant experiences, you realize everything happens for a reason, and these things ultimately make you stronger. This is gratitude's deepest level, being grateful even for adversity. A gentle yet powerful practice is gratitude meditation. Sit quietly, place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, and think of a person, place, or experience that makes you feel warm inside. Feel gratitude energy radiating from your heart throughout your entire body. Just a few minutes like this each day will make your soul gentler and more open. When you live in gratitude, life seems to change colors. Every morning you wake up is a gift. Every breath is a miracle. Gratitude is the simplest yet most powerful path to raising your vibrational frequency and entering a state of complete happiness. And finally, habit number 8. Love yourself unconditionally. Throughout life, we're taught how to love and care for others, but rarely does anyone teach us how to love ourselves. Here's the reality. The foundation of every healthy relationship starts with self-love. When you know how to value, accept, and nurture yourself, only then can you radiate that love to everyone around you. Unconditional self-love means not setting standards or conditions for being worthy of love. It's not selfishness or overindulgence. It's an attitude of compassion and gentleness toward yourself. Even when you make mistakes, aren't perfect, or are going through hard times, you still deserve love. One of the most important steps in self-love is complete acceptance. Instead of constantly comparing yourself to others, recognize that you are a unique individual with your own story, experiences, and beauty. Your flaws or past wounds don't diminish your value. On the contrary, they contribute to who you are today. Develop the habit of speaking loving words to yourself. Every morning, look in the mirror, smile, and send yourself a positive affirmation. I am enough. I deserve happiness. I love and value who I am. These seemingly small statements have the power to transform your subconscious, helping you cultivate confidence and inner peace. Another way to practice self-love is listening to your body's and soul's needs. When you're tired, give yourself permission to rest. When you're sad, let yourself cry. When you need joy, find activities that make your heart bloom. Self-love isn't about chasing perfection. It's about knowing how to care for yourself at the right time in the right way. Also, forgiving yourself is a profound act of love. How many times have you blamed yourself for past mistakes? How many times have you denied your own worth just because you didn't achieve desired results? Remember, you're only human, and making mistakes is an inevitable part of the growth journey. Forgiving yourself is giving yourself the chance to start fresh and move forward with a lighter spirit. When you love yourself unconditionally, you're not just raising your vibrational frequency. You're becoming an inspiration to others. A heart that knows how to love itself will know how to love life and love people completely and freely. And then life is no longer about chasing external validation. It's about living authentically, living fully, and living happily from within. All right, let's quickly recap these 8 game-changing self-love habits. Number 1, welcome natural light. Just 10 to 15 minutes of morning sun to reset your body clock and boost your mood. Number 2, walk mindfully. Turn your daily walk into a moving meditation that clears your mind and sparks creativity. Number 3, connect with water energy. Whether it's a foot soak, mindful hydration, or time by the ocean, water heals. Number 4, breathe to live fully. Use conscious breathing techniques to calm your nervous system and elevate your energy. Number 5, move your body. Gentle, joyful movement keeps you flexible physically and mentally. Number 6, meditate and embrace stillness. Find your inner peace by creating space for silence in your busy life. Number 7, practice gratitude. Shift your focus from what's missing to what's abundant, and watch your whole world transform. Number 8, love yourself unconditionally. Accept who you are completely, speak kindly to yourself, and know you are enough. These habits might seem simple, but don't let that fool you. When you consistently practice even just a few of these, you'll notice profound shifts: lighter energy, clearer thinking, deeper peace, and genuine happiness that comes from within. Here's what I want you to do. Choose 1 or 2 habits from this list that really spoke to you and commit to practicing them for the next 7 days. Just 7 days. See what changes. I guarantee you'll feel the difference. And hey, I'd love to hear which habit you're starting with. Drop a comment below and let me know. Are you team morning sunlight Team mindful walking, or maybe you're going straight for that unconditional self-love. Let's support each other in this community. If you found value in this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm share this message with more people who need it. And definitely share this with a friend or family member who could use a little energy boost and self-love reminder right now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss our weekly content on personal growth, mindfulness, and living your absolute best life. Remember, self-love is the greatest gift you can give yourself. When you elevate your energy, you naturally attract peace, abundance, and joy into your life. You've got this. Thanks so much for being here today. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care of yourself. You deserve it. Peace.